we've talked about Absol quite a few times, and probably every time we've done a podcast. And these days has been mentioned in some fashion, whether sarcastic or serious. But he did an interview recently with Hip Hop DX that site comes up again, and he was talking about how those that listened to him before may have a certain perception of these days, and he says, I will quote it for you. Said He said someone should say, "Yo, I was listening to Control System, and this is not the same guy I thought he was." And he said someone should say that. That's also just my truth, honestly. And if you care to grow with me and change with me, then you can. So, Ab is basically, and I think a lot of artists try to use this kind of, I guess I would say, excuse, which may be a poor word. But first thing I think of is B.O.B. and how they kind of try to cross over into a larger audience. And the question is that truly growth for an artist, or is that copping out or selling out? How do y'all feel about that? Do you think them trying to reach out completely out of the lane that they've already paved is a means of growth all the time? I'll start with Gary.
Yeah, I actually really feel what Absol was saying in that interview. And this also goes back to the previous discussion we had about, the albums being judged separately. Um, I feel like the audience should grow with the artist because, not every album has to sound the same or contain the same subject matter. Like, each album can be its own, body of work, its own masterpiece. The fans just have to be open-minded enough to accept it and, fully understand it and understand the creative process behind it.
I feel you there. So, all right, let me paint a picture, and I know Joe will understand me on this. So, say you have that open mind, and you have open arms, and you're letting these days come in. It slides into your CD player, and you're playing it, and then the song "Twacked" comes on, and you realize that this attempt at expanding is probably going to end up being a complete failure. Like you've given them the chance, but the execution is just terrible. Joe, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that happens. The artist can make a dud as well. I'm not letting the artist off the hook because they've still got to bring it. But yeah, I mean, I guess listeners could be more open-minded. I haven't heard Absol's album, so I don't know what the case is but yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I haven't listened to it either.
Gotcha. I've got to get both of you to check out Schoolboy Q, Isaiah Rashad, and Absol's projects. But Joe, how did you feel about this statement?
I think to a certain extent it's not. I mean, it's like artist growth, because these days wasn't as bad as everybody says it was, myself included. But there was just certain moments where you're like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this when this works for you? You don't throw a fastball when the curveball's working for you. You just don't do it. It's just one of those things. And Twack just sounded like it was a sellout song. It just sounded completely like TDE said, "Hey, we want you to do a DJ Mustard song," when he's the least capable person of TDE to do a DJ Mustard song.
Absolutely. Pun intended, too.
Yeah. It just seems like some of the stuff does come across forced, if you're trying to do growth. I think the best example I can use is Kanye, because 808s was it was a concept album, but it didn't come across forced. It just sounded like it was organic. And
I love 808s.
I love that album.
Yeah,
and it's just it sounded organic, it sounded from the heart, and it just sounded like it wasn't manufactured.
And it was something completely different from that artist, but still falling kind of within what you would expect from Kanye.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't listened to the Ab Soul project, but from what I've heard people talk about it, it's kind of out of left field, a lot of it. And I don't know if that's necessarily growth or if that's just change for change's sake.
Yeah, I would actually say the
latter. For change's sake. Yeah, change for change's sake on that one for me. And I mean, and he's kind of admitting that though by saying it, like hoping that people will accept that kind of change. But I'm like, nah, man, that's not your lane, and you should stick to your strengths for sure.